Hi everybody, welcome. I'll just let everyone connect to audio before we get started. Cool. So welcome everyone. Let me just pop the waiting room off. There we go. Cool, welcome everybody to our self-care club this evening. If you would like to turn your videos on, please feel free to. You won't be recorded or anything. It will just be me seeing you. But if you'd prefer to have them off, you are also very, very welcome. The only thing you'll need for our practice tonight, I love, is a pen and paper or something to write on and with. If you're new to these sessions, we started them in lockdown last year, and they're an opportunity to just bring the community together, to learn a little bit together, and to invite a bit of wellness into the week and a little bit of self-care. So we'll start with a practice on the body. We'll then move into a reflection practice with your pens and paper, and we'll finish with a little meditation sequence tonight. So just getting yourself settled. Hi, everybody. Nice to see some new faces and names. Cool. I'm just going to pop everyone on mute. As we move through the session, if anyone has questions or anything, feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll have a little bit of time at the end for any questions or any sharing if anybody would like to. No pressure at all. So let's get started. Coming to just a comfortable seat, whether you're on the ground, whether you're on a couch or your bed, wherever is comfortable. We're not going to do any yoga, don't worry. So just a cozy, comfortable seat is perfect. For those of you I haven't met before, my name is Liz, and I run the More Mind and Wellness program at More Yoga. I'm also a wellness coach, and I work specifically with people around stress and anxiety. So I also teach yoga therapy for those specific things. And the focus we're going to work on tonight, work-life balance in lockdown. Gosh, what a serious topic that is for the times we're living in today. It's something I think probably resonates with all of us at the moment. It's that idea of just putting a few more boundaries in place so we feel a little bit more in control of where our time and our energy is going when we're spending obviously much more time indoors at the moment and perhaps working from home. So just coming to a comfortable seat at the beginning. You don't need any writing equipment. You can pop that to one side for now. Just bringing the hands to rest on the knees or in the lap, palms facing up. And let's just take a moment to close the eyes down and to simply arrive together in this space, to arrive in your body, and to mentally arrive. Putting any to-do list, any busy thoughts, any distractions, just to one side. And giving yourself permission to drop in. So hopefully learn something new. To take a little bit of time out for self-reflection and self-care. We'll take a few deep breaths into the nose and out through the mouth. Breathing into the nose and out through the mouth. Take one more deep breath in and a long sigh out through the mouth. And slowly, when you're ready, begin to just blink the eyes gently open. Good. Bringing the hands just to rest at the rib cage. We're going to do a little bit of work on just focusing the breath. And this is also a really nice tool to bookend your working day. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we're in the practice. But bringing the hands to rest around the rib cage. Start to just feel your breath as it moves in and out of the body. So feeling the rib cage expand as you breathe in and retract and soften as you exhale. Breathing into the nose and breathing out through the nose. Good, lovely. One more breath in. One more breath out. Slide the hands down to the lower belly, so thumbs at the navel, fingers pointing down. And I'm going to invite you to let your lower belly relax. We spend a lot of our time, perhaps subconsciously, maybe consciously, really retracting the muscles in the stomach. And what I want you to do now is let your belly soften into your hands. And what we're going to do is start to breathe down into the palms. So we'll take a few breaths into the nose, feeling the hands as the belly presses into them, and breathing out through the nose. Good. Breathing into the nose, sending that breath down to your lower belly, and breathing out through the nose. Good. Close the eyes down. Just connect for a moment to that gentle movement of back and forth as you inhale and as you exhale. Belly rising as you breathe in and belly falling gently away as you breathe out. And as you continue to breathe in this diaphragmatic way, take a moment to notice how you're feeling physically in this moment, how you're feeling mentally in this moment, and how you're feeling emotionally at this moment. Just checking in. When you're ready in your own time, take a deep breath in and a long sigh out. Slowly start to just blink the eyes open. Just bringing the hands onto the knees. Let's lengthen into the back of the body, just rolling the shoulders back. Deep inhale. And exhaling, roll the shoulders forwards to the chest. Just gently stretching into the back of the body. And then grabbing your writing material. We're going to move into a reflection-based practice. So you can write on your phone, on a laptop, on a pen and paper, whatever you feel most comfortable using. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions that I use in my wellness training. Let me just turn the music down a fraction. To help you to firstly reflect on what work-life balance means to you. And then we'll look at how we can bring a few more boundaries into this experience we're all having during lockdown, which I must add is a completely different experience than any of us are used to. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, stressed, or anxious at the moment, I can assure you, I think just about everyone is experiencing a really similar thing. So just know that it's completely normal and completely natural to be having those reactions and to perhaps be struggling with finding work-life balance during lockdown. So firstly, I'd like you to think back on the past for the first few questions. Firstly, answering, how would you define a healthy work-life balance? What would that look like to you? How would you define a healthy work-life balance? And you can write in sentences, you can jot words down, whatever feels most natural for you tonight. We'll spend just a moment or so on each of these little reflections. If anyone does have any questions or anything isn't clear, just feel free to pop it in the chat or unmute yourself at any point. Okay, and when you're ready to move on, reflecting on what you have learnt about creating work-life balance from your past experiences. So looking back, thinking about what you can draw on from the past. Are there experiences where you've had a really healthy work-life balance? Perhaps some experiences where it's felt a little bit more toxic and unhealthy. Okay. When you're ready to move on, I'd like you to think about boundaries. And one of the strongest indicators of healthy boundaries is our emotional response to when those boundaries are pushed. So reflecting now on a time when this might have happened for you. I can think back to a few times when I worked in fashion before I was a yoga teacher, and I would often work really, really late. And I remember one time missing a gig that I had in my calendar for about 3 months. I'd saved up for the tickets, and my boss told me I couldn't go to the gig because an order needed to be sent. And I still remember to this day being so sad with myself that I let someone push my boundaries that far. So maybe at this time, there's a few things that come up for you when you think, wow, my boundaries were really pushed during that time or that experience. And just taking a moment to reflect now on anything from the past. Lovely, guys. It can be really helpful to actually reflect and revisit some of those times, because often those are the learning curves when we learn when our boundaries are being pushed and how far we're actually happy to go. So just beginning to finish up what you're writing on these past reflections. These are just to help give us a bit of a rounded idea for the boundaries we'll put in place towards the end of our practice today. According to John Black, who is the author of a great book, Better Boundaries, Owning and Treasuring Your Life, he said, we can become so used to saying yes and thinking about the needs of others that often our needs can become the very bottom of the pile. That might resonate for you at the moment. Perhaps you're feeling like your needs and the things that matter to you and nurture you are being pushed to the very bottom of the pile. So we're going to think now about the present and what's going on in this present moment and the situation that you're currently in. So firstly, I'd like you to reflect on some positives. So think about what is working for you in this current situation. There might be some things that are actually great. Not having to travel in and out of work, gaining that time in the day. Maybe you're able to spend more time with your family or people at home. So just taking a moment now to reflect on what might be working for you in your current work-life situation. If you don't have lots to write here, that is absolutely fine. And when you're ready, and no rush, take your time. Start to think about what you're finding challenging at the moment. And I think for many of us, perhaps it's about human interaction, not having those bookends of the day that we're going to talk a little bit about soon. Not having a stop point of when you walk out the door. Maybe it's different things for each of us. Just taking the next moment or two to jot down things that you're finding challenging. Just remembering this is a safe space to share on your piece of paper or whatever you're writing onto. No one's going to see it, so you can be really honest with yourself. Well done, guys. Lots of busy writing going on. That's good. Reflection is such a great tool, but I don't think is used enough. Okay, we're going to come on to a really nice list now. So after those challenging things, I'd like you to think about what you would like to make more time for. Often creating work-life balance is so deeply stemmed in time and where we place our time and energy, where we allow our time and energy to be placed. So making a list now of all the things that you would like to make more time for. Perhaps connecting with friends, self-care, hobbies. I've underlined 3 times here, rest and relaxation. Those are also important things to add to this list. Remember, you don't need to be constantly doing. Also very important to simply be being at the moment. And when you're ready to move on, spend a moment or two on this final reflection. I'd like you to think about how it would feel. Make the space to do more of these things. How would it affect your life to actually put healthier boundaries in place around life and work? What impact might it have on your well-being? And when you're ready and you finish writing that sentence, that word, put your writing materials down for a moment. Let's just bring the hands onto the knees, roll the shoulders back again, and roll the shoulders forwards. Straighten the spine and close the eyes down. And we'll take 3 deep cleansing breaths before we move on. Taking a deep breath down into the lower belly again. And exhale out through the mouth. Breathe down into the lower belly again. Exhale out through the mouth. Taking one more deep inhale. And one more deep exhale. And slowly begin to blink the eyes open. So you might like to write these things down. You might like to just listen. So these are a few tips and ideas to help create a little bit more work-life balance. We're then going to move on to a boundaries exercise, and then we'll have time. I'm going to share a few mindfulness, meditation, and breath tools that you can bring into the day to help bookend the start and the finish of the day. That is one of the most effective things I think can be done throughout lockdown particularly. At the moment, a lot of us are missing that kind of bookend of the day where you're going to work, where you're finishing work and coming home. We don't have that headspace or that time that perhaps we used to have, where we prepare ourselves mentally for starting and finishing work. And we also have a physical differentiation between where we are, our physical surroundings. So one of the things to try is bringing in an exercise to signal the start and finish of your working day. And that might be a 5 or 10 minute breathing technique, a mindfulness practice, a meditation tool. Journaling can also be a great way to bookend the beginning and the end of the working day. And I'm going to share a couple of those tools afterwards. Reclaiming that travel time. So thinking over that list of the things you wrote that you'd like to make more time for, instead of jumping onto your laptop as soon as you wake up or checking your phone, reclaim the time that you used to use traveling into work, or perhaps the time on your lunch break to make space for some of those activities that by not making space for them, perhaps you're feeling frustrated, a little bit unnourished, or maybe slightly unfulfilled at the moment. Because when we're at work, often we have those breaks throughout the day. And at the moment, when many of us are working from home, or perhaps only sometimes going into the office, we're missing those interactions and those experiences. So even popping out for a walk in the mornings, doing some exercise on lunch, doing some breath work, even colouring, doing a creative hobby, or calling a friend. Something me and one of my colleagues have been doing recently is calling each other or Zooming each other on our lunch breaks and eating lunch together. So we just talk about stuff that isn't work related. And I think those personal interactions can be really important to adopt in and around the working week to help us feel more connected to the people that we care about. Another idea is to have a set space for where you work from. And the reason this is important is because energetically changing our surroundings and our environment can help us to switch mentally from what we're doing. If you're someone who suffers with anxiety, as I do, or is very affected by stress, mentally shifting your environment can have a really big impact on the brain and the nervous system. So actually changing up where you're sitting, changing up where you're working from into your relaxation mode, and even changing clothes so that you feel you're in a different environment can have a real impact on feeling that difference between work time and relaxation time, or time with your family, or time with yourself. And another thing that's really great to do is to actually close all your work stuff off. So shut your computer down like you would at the end of a working day. Put any documents or paperwork over to one side. Turn off the apps or emails on your phone when you finish for the working day. That's a really great strategy for bringing in boundaries around work. So you're not sat on your phone trying to relax and watch your favorite TV show and your emails are pinging off. And of course, you're curious to read them. All of us do it. And you might then be inclined to send a response, or it might trigger a stress response in your body. So it makes our minds continually keep working or in that work mode. What we want to do is signal to our bodies and brains that it's time to relax. So anything you can do to create a different environment, even if you're, a little bit stuck with space, just clear your things away, put them underneath your desk or away to the side of the sofa so you can't see them, because you wouldn't see them when you're at home normally. So trying to create that difference is a really key element for reminding our minds that we're in a different mode. And we're going to move on now to our boundaries exercise. Another thing I wanted to mention was actually putting your phone away into a different room for periods of the night, because I know many of us have like technology fatigue at the moment. I know I do, because my phone is constantly binging from different yoga groups. And it can be really powerful to actually put it in another room away from you so you're not drawn to it and your mind can actually focus on something else and you can be present in whatever else you're doing. Okay, so my favorite boundaries exercise. This is so applicable to so many things. Grab your pen and paper or whatever you're working on. And I want you to take a look, firstly, over that list that you made, the things that you would like to make more time for in order to feel that you have a little bit of a healthier work-life balance at the moment. And you can split your page into two parts, two little columns, or if you're using notes or anything else, you can make two lists. But what I want you to write in the first column or in your first list is in order to say yes to. And this is actually a practice that I do on a Monday morning at the start of the week to remind myself of the boundaries I want to put in place. Because the more and more we do these things, the more that we create a new habit. So in your first column or list, writing in order to say yes to. And we're going to take a couple of minutes now to make a list of all the things that you would like to say yes to more of during lockdown. Let's focus on this period at the moment. So the things that you would like to say yes to in order to feel that you have more of a work-life balance at the moment. And it's the next column the magic happens. Firstly, putting those things down in writing and actually putting them out to the universe and out energetically is a really great thing to do, to actually remind yourself of the things that help you to feel balanced in yourself and help you feel nurtured and strong. But on this second column or this second list, I'd like you to reflect next to each of those points in your first list, the things you'd like to say yes to. I'd like you to reflect on what you need to say no to in order to make those things happen. And it might be a practical thing, like making the time for these things to happen. So if you're working until 9 p.m. at night, or working early, finishing late, working through your lunch break, could it be that practically reclaiming some of that time that you might not be paid for, and you might be able to put boundaries in place to take back and reclaim, leaves that time open for other things, for personal pursuits, for rest and relaxation. And some of these things can be really interlinked. So often, we might find when we're working late, or when our boundaries are being tested, when we're coming close to those emotional responses of our boundaries being put to the test, we might then be moving into unhealthier habits. I know for me, if I've had a really long, stressful day, the only thing I want is a glass of wine at the end of the day to relax. And then you might stay up later that evening. You might wake up later the next morning. You might wake up feeling groggy and in a bad mood. So it can almost be a ripple effect from not having boundaries in place around your work-life balance. It can actually have a really big impact on our lives as a whole. So when you're looking at this list and thinking about the things that you will say no to, really try to get to the bottom of what saying no, how it could impact on your balance, the balance of your life as a whole. Perhaps saying yes to more of the things that nurture and support you could have a wider impact on many other things. So we'll spend just a few more moments here on that second column. And that second column is going to act as almost a boundaries list. What can you say no to create more balance? And when you're ready, after you've finished writing whatever it is you're writing, remember you can always come back to this list if you need to. And I would suggest trying this exercise at the start of every working week, or on a Sunday evening if that works better for you. And just thinking about the week ahead, thinking about the things that you want to integrate into that week, what you need to say no to in order to make those things happen, what boundaries you need to put in place to create a little bit more balance in the week, and put them into your calendar, schedule them. That can be a really great way to form these kind of habits around balance and boundaries. We're going to do a few breathing techniques and a mindfulness practice now that can be one of the tools that you implement throughout the week to help break up the working day and your personal time. So take a moment to just shift, make any movements you need to make, get yourself comfy. And we'll begin by bringing the right hand onto the lower abdomen and the left hand onto the heart. And this is a really nice breathing practice as we use contact with the body, so we can really feel into where the breath is sitting. So closing our eyes and starting to breathe once more down into your lower abdomen, feeling your right hand gently press away as you breathe in, and feel your belly gently fall away as you exhale. Breathing in, feeling the lower belly rise. And exhaling, feeling the lower belly fall. Continue to just breathe down into the lower belly. And we'll start to create a 3-part breath. And this is a really great breathing tool, pranayama, to help soothe the nervous system, to help really relax the body and the mind. A great breath for the end of the day in particular, or even at the end of your morning to signal a difference between work and lunch, to calm down the mind and the body. So we'll begin to breathe up into the chest from the lower belly, breathing in 2 parts. So when you're ready, inhale firstly down into your lower abdomen. Take another breath up into the chest where the left hand is resting. And exhale slowly through the nose. Good. Breathing down into your lower belly. Inhaling up into the heart. And exhaling out through the nose. Lovely. 3 parts. Lower belly. Up into the chest. And out through the nose. And with the eyes closed, see if you can make that breath just a little bit smoother. So it becomes almost like a waterfall of breath. Inhaling lower belly, right hand rises. Inhaling up into the chest, feeling that breath fill the heart. And out through the nose. Good, beautiful guys. Inhaling, creating that waterfall effect with the breath. And we'll take just a few more rounds. Breathing in and exhaling out. Breathing in and exhaling out. And taking one more deep breath in and a long waterfall breath out. And keeping the eyes closed, just let the hands drift down into the lap or onto the knees. And just returning to a comfortable, natural rhythm with your breathing. We'll move on to an extended exhalation now. So keeping the eyes closed, we'll begin to count the breath. This is a great breathing tool to stay present and bring mindfulness into the breath as we're focusing on counting the inhale and extending the count of the exhale. So we'll begin with an inhale for 3, exhale for 4. We'll move up to an inhale to 4, exhale for 6, and then we'll finally increase to 5 and an exhale for 7. So keeping the shoulders relaxed, keeping the back long, taking a breath in and a breath out. Inhaling into the nose for 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue to count the breath and just notice how that breath count sits in your body. If that breath is feeling constrictive, reduce the count, keeping about 2 counts between the inhale and the exhale. So your exhalation is just a little bit longer than the inhalation. Lovely. Just taking 3 more rounds of that breath in your own time, extending the exhale. This breath signals to the nervous system that it's okay to relax and slow down. This can be a really great breath to have in your well-being toolbox, if you will. Anytime you need to just pause, to recenter, and to reconnect to your breathing. And after that final exhalation, wherever you are, release the breath. And just take a moment to notice how you're feeling now in your body, how you're feeling now in your mind, and how you're feeling now emotionally. And when you're ready, blinking the eyes open. And let's just take a long stretch up, pressing the hands away. Take a stretch over to the left, just to re-energize. Nice. Back to center, deep breath in. And exhale over to the right hand side. And back to center. Bring the hands down onto the knees. You can also come and lay flat for our final practice if you would like. We're going to practice a mindfulness meditation. So you can do this sitting. You might like to just move and sit against a wall as well to give your back a little bit of support. Or you can lay completely flat, whatever feels best. We'll be practicing for about 5 minutes. So getting yourself comfortable. And then closing the eyes down again. Just making any little movements or adjustments you need to make to settle into stillness. And we'll practice tonight a body scan relaxation technique. And you can do this at the end of the day to bookmark the end of work on the start of your personal time. You can do this throughout the working day to take 5 minutes back and relax your mind and your body. Closing the eyes and just bringing your focus inwards into the body. And starting to just relax the expression on your face. So noticing, firstly, how the expression is. Noticing if the brow is furrowed or if you can soften the brow. Noticing if the jaw is clenched or if you can relax the brow. And maybe the lips, the mouth can relax in a soft and effortless smile. Starting to slowly move your awareness down to the shoulders. Just noticing if the shoulders are up towards the ears, or if you can perhaps create a little bit more space, dropping the shoulders down and softening them away. Beginning to travel down the arms. Just noticing if you're unintentionally holding tension anywhere. Sometimes we clench the fists without realizing. So just relaxing the arms now, letting the hands fall open and letting the arms just fall heavily wherever they lay. Starting to move down the front of your body, relaxing the chest, breathing into the ribs, and letting the belly soften even more as you continue to inhale and exhale down into your lower abdomen. And bringing awareness into the back of the body now. This tends to be a space where we hold on to stress and tension. So inviting the back of the body to release now, to relax. Scanning from the top of your neck to the base of your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, relaxing into every muscle. And scanning down to your sitting bones, relaxing the muscles, releasing the hips, moving down the legs, finally coming to the soles of the feet. Inviting every part of you, every muscle, every bone, every cell to come to total stillness now. And as we invite the body to completely relax, let's keep the mind focused on the present by bringing your awareness into your heart and counting 3 things that you're grateful for from the day that's just passed. They could be small things, they could be big things. Counting 3 things you're grateful for. And when you're ready, slowly bringing awareness back into the breath. And we'll take 3 deep cleansing breaths before we open our eyes. Breathing into the nose and sighing out through the mouth. Breathing into the nose Opening the mouth, making an HA sound. And taking one more deep breath in. Deepest breath of the day so far. And a loud HA sound as you exhale. And keeping the eyes closed, just lifting the hands and bringing the hands over the heart. And you might like to set an intention to take into the rest of the evening with you. And in your own time, no rush, just slowly begin to blink the eyes open and come back into the room. Thank you guys so much for joining me for our self-care club this evening. I've run over a little bit. I always like to leave 15 minutes at the end for any questions or any discussion points, but we do have 10 minutes. If anyone does have any questions or anything they'd like to share, I'm going to stop recording just so everyone knows.